Welcome back. In this lecture, we shall learn about the group by clause. So quite often it happens that we want to aggregate the columns with respect to another column. Say for example, one scenario could be that we want the count of faculties at the school level. So there may be like 15, 20, 25, 30, whatever number of faculties. Another scenario could be we want the count of faculties by specialization. Say in operations we have 5, in strategy we have 7, and so on and so forth. So in later case, in scenario 2, we would need to aggregate the column with respect to specialization column. Say suppose we want the count of faculties by their specialization, not the overall count. In that case, we shall use a group by clause. So let's go to the PG admin. Alright, select from faculty. Okay, what do we want? The count of faculty. To count the faculty with respect to specialization. Okay. So this column has like a specialization ID. So with respect to this column, so specialization ID has various values, and these values indicate a particular specialization. So what we'll do, specialization ID, comma, count the faculty ID. Faculty ID will give every faculty has a faculty ID. Next, what we'll do, we'll group by specialization ID. So one thing you must always keep in mind that, so suppose here in the select statement we have just two variables, two entities. So except for the aggregate entity, everything else should be in the group by statement. Means otherwise means if this counting, this aggregation is happening with respect to, in this case we have just one column, but there could be more than one column. So all these columns should be here. That is how it happens, because you are specifying the aggregation with respect to these. That's why you need to provide it over here as well. Okay, so we can further, so specialization 4 has 4 faculties, specialization 3 has 4 faculties. So let's make it a little more readable. Count of faculty. Further we can order the output. We learned order by earlier, right? We can order by count. So this is increasing order. We can choose to do descending order as well, not ascending. So specialization 1 has highest number of faculties, that is 5. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Let's jump to the next question. Okay, get the average salary of faculty members by specialization name and order by average salary. Okay, once again let's go to pgadmin. Before that, let's copy the question. Get the average salary of faculty members by specialization name. So in the faculty table we have only specialization ID. In this case we also need the specialization name, so that in the final output we have salary, average salary by specialization name. So let's see. This is your faculty table. So these two table we need. In the specialization table we have a specialization name. Okay, so we'll perform a join over here. One sec. Yes. Select from faculty join what specialization, it's called B on. So in faculty table it is called specialization ID, and it is, so this is a foreign key of this table in which ID is a primary key. So in this table the same column is called ID, simply ID. So we shall have to give the name as it is defined in the table. Okay. Now, so what are the columns we need? So grouping has to be by specialization name, right? Specialization name. I always do spelling mistakes while typing but not writing. I don't know why. So sorry, it comes from the specialization table. Specialization, and then we want average salary, and here group by. So instead of, so this is the first column, instead of writing b dot specialization name, we can simply write 1, order by 2. So we are ordering the output by salary. Okay, so this is the average salary, and this is ascending order. So what we want is descending order. So we can put DSC and it will be reversed. You can see, right? Okay, so once again, see, this one numeric 1 represents the first column in the select statement, and 2 represents the second column. Okay, so we are doing grouping by specialization name because we want average salary by specialization name. So that's why grouping, and order because we want the ordering of the output by salary. So I hope it makes sense. It's very straightforward. Let's jump to the next question. We did this question. Okay, now this is very important. So usually what happens, so far we have learned that in where clause as well we put the filtering criteria as well as in the having, but there is slight difference. So when we put a filtering criteria and where, it is about the values in the column, but when we put filtering criteria in having clause, it is about the aggregated values in a column. So we shall try to learn it through an example, like find the specializations that pay their professors more than 180K on an average. So here we can see there are two conditions. First is the faculty has to be a professor. So that is a condition on the column value. So faculty is equal to professor will go in where clause. And the second condition is the average salary of the professor has to be greater than 180K. So we are talking about average salary. So salary is a column, average is an aggregate function. So this aggregate function is acting on a column. So we are actually filtering based on the aggregated value. That's why this aggregate condition on the aggregated value will go in the having clause. Let's try to solve this problem. Let's copy this question. Okay, so let's from faculty. So we want salary grouped by specialization. So we'll have to join, let's call it A specialization table A dot specialization ID. If you recall, it is called simply ID in the specialization table. Further, the condition is the where we have to put A dot designation is equal to professor. Okay, and what we want, specialization name. Specialization name will come from specialization table. Specialization name, and then average salary. Okay, let's call it as average salary group by B dot specialization name. Put in B dot specialization name, and then the condition on aggregation, that is average salary has to be greater than 180. Okay, all right, these three specializations are there that pay on an average more than 180k to professors. Okay, one more thing we must note over here, that in having clause we cannot give the nickname. So here average salary column has been given a nickname, average underscore salary. If you put in average salary here, it will throw error. I'll explain why. Average salary does not exist. This is happening because when we learned about the order of execution of SQL queries, so order of execution was from where group by, having, and then select, and then distinct, and then order by, and then limit and offset. So in this case, select statement is being read after having, and in having we are using a nickname, and that nickname has been defined in the select statement. That's why the server is unaware of this nickname. So always keep in mind, never put the nickname or alias in the having clause. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Okay, now let's go to the next part of the lecture. We did this, we did group by, okay, roll up. So in roll up, what happens? In roll up, what if we want overall average salary at IAM, and then average salary by specialization name, and then average salary by specialization and designation in a single shot without writing multiple queries? In that case, what we'll do, we'll use roll up. So what roll up does, in one go it gives overall, it will give overall average in this case, and then average by specialization name, and then average by specialization name and designation. So how does it work? Let's see in the PG admin. Okay, so let's run it. Hidden characters. Okay, all right. So if we roll down, scroll down, we'll see, we will see few null values. Finance null this. So what does it say? This is with respect to finance specialization. This is the average salary. This is the salary for professors in the finance department, salary for lecturers in the finance department, salary for associate professors in the finance department, and this is the overall average salary in the finance department. Similarly for marketing, operations, and when we try to get the overall salary irrespective of specialization, irrespective of designation, then this is the overall salary. Okay, so this is quite useful to get everything in one shot. So I hope it makes sense and you're enjoying the lecture. So there are a few practice questions, do them, and solutions to the problems are attached in the next lecture. And see you in then brand new lecture. Till then, happy learning.